up to 50% of performance on particular workloads as we've added new instructions to the product. We've also increased the security. As in an increasingly virtualized world, security has become a major issue for all of us. And as a result, this product now powers the #1 of the top 500 supercomputers globally, the Milky Way 2 cluster. It increases the number of cores, and basically it allows us to address a much wider range of workloads. But the point of this is actually we're doing this to solve some issues that we see in the marketplace. I'd like to take you through how we're seeing the entire computer market and the IT market evolve. This is something we call the third industrial revolution, and I'll speak more about how this is relevant over the last hundreds of years, not just the last few months. But first I'd like to show you a little bit of what happens in a single minute in the internet today. So what's causing this? Well, what's going on? Why are we seeing such massive change? The internet we see today is radically different from the internet of just 2 years ago. The mix of video versus other data types has changed. The number of non-people devices, the machine-to-machine connections has massively increased. Why is this all happening, and so why is it happening so fast? But also, where is it going to go? This is something we call the third industrial revolution. A number of analysts have been looking at this, and basically it comes down to examining human history. And you see on a scale of 80 to 100 years, there'll be major transformations that change everything. And I mean everything. I don't mean change the IT industry or change computers. I mean change everything. And if we look back into the 1700s, we had the arrival of the printing press and mass education, railways, factories, steam and coal. If we look at the 1800s, we had electrification, new materials, highways. These changed all industries. They changed agriculture, they changed health, they changed finance, they changed everything. We are now in the midst of a third transition, which is that of the information superhighway, smart everything, changes in molecular biology, the internet, also going to change everything. Now, if we look at that electrification example, just to put it into context, way back in 1752, Ben Franklin flew a kite, and the kite had a key on the end that was hit by lightning. And from then, for the next 150 years, there was development around electrification. So we learned about AC power, DC power, how to transmit, and standard connections. We learned about the electric light bulb. And all of those things made differences. You started seeing cities with lights, electric lights. You started seeing people use it. But if we go forward, we finally had standardized distribution of electricity about 1910. And then if we look at 1920, even in Britain, where this was most advanced, less than 10% of the households had electricity. If we look at just a mere 8 years later, it was ubiquitous. Everyone had electricity. Every factory was using electric motors. The world had changed. All industries had changed. The same thing we can see happening today. If we go back 60 years, the first commercial computers, we had integrated circuits back in 1959. We had the internet arrive, obviously, but it was only 10 years ago that we first had wireless computing with Wi-Fi and Centrino. That was only 10 years ago. You saw on the video that Facebook didn't exist then. Since then, we have Facebook, we have iPhones and iPads, and now we're getting major changes that are invisible to many of us. We had a call from the World Trade Center in New York. They were rebuilding the World Trade Center, and they said a very simple problem. They said, we have 500,000 intelligent devices communicating in the new World Trade Center when it finishes. They don't talk to each other. We have many, many networks. We have a network for the elevator controllers. We have a network for the gas sensors. We have a network for the transportation controllers. All of these don't talk to each other. That is now a problem. The people in charge of the World Trade Center said, I want to manage my entire environment. I want to deal with emergencies. I want to ensure the smooth flow of people. And to do that, I need to coordinate. So that's a transformation and a problem that would have made no sense in the year 2009. And yet today is a very real problem that I am now seeing replicated time and time again. The internet and this information world has transformed industries. We see some here that just kind of make sense, and we all expect this. We see shopping. We now shop online. Remember, it wasn't that long ago we didn't do that. But now we have virtualized the shopping experience, and we have this very interesting blend where people look online, but also use the physical space and bring them together. And a new industry coming out about digital signage and video analytics to make that experience richer. We see knowledge moving from physical encyclopedias to now we think nothing of just looking on our phone and seeing Bing or Google or other search engines. We see education moving to an electronic environment. We see travel. We used to go to a travel agency. Now, we do still have travel agencies, but they're very tightly connected to the web and to online. And we now look at online reference sites to say, what do other people think about this hotel? That industry has changed. More importantly, are the industries you don't see that are changing as well. We work with every major car company in the world. And one thing that is almost unanimous is they all think they won't be car companies in 20 years. All of the big car companies think we will be solutions, we will be brands in 20 years because they see the world changing. They see things like Zipcar, which is where I don't own a car, but it's one on the street. I approach it with my special token. I get into that car and I'm charged for the half hour I'm driving. And then I drop it off and I might pick it up 3 days later. And on the weekend, I need a bigger car because I have my family with me and I will go get a bigger car. That means that instead of selling me a car, or selling me a sat-nav system, they're selling 10,000 cars to a city or a city company, which is therefore going to be a very different business about service and support and personalization. So that industry is going to transform. I was speaking to the engineer in charge of the Crossrail project in the UK. Now, This is a project, the largest